first of all, I'm E.J. Sokola. I live a fairly active life. I like to water ski, wakeboard. I like to hunt. I like to snow ski, and I like to golf. I came to see Dr. Nielsen after I had been skiing on Lake Jordan. I felt a slight pain in my back. The following day, I was working in my yard, and all of a sudden I couldn't walk. I couldn't get up. I had significant pain, electrical impulses radiating down both sides of my legs, which made it very difficult for me to walk. Naturally, I'm concerned, so I immediately called the Duke Spine Clinic up, got an appointment, and went in to see them. I talked to the PA there and explained to her what my symptoms were, how they evolved, and she took an x-ray and she said, well, you have stenosis of the spine, and you have, which means that I've got a closing of the spine, and either disc or some other anomaly was putting pressure on my nerves there, causing this significant pain. And I said, okay, so what is the treatment and what's the prognosis? Well, she said, we'll treat it with medication first and physical therapy. We can give you injections if that doesn't work. The third option was surgery. Well, the second and third were not options at all. I wanted to have this physically corrected. So she said, we'll put you on Advil and we'll send you to a physical therapist. Well, I said, my girlfriend was going to this physical therapist, and I said, well, I want to talk to her first before I enroll in one of your programs, because the last thing I wanted, and I'm not being demeaning to physical therapists, but I said typically you go in there, it's a cookie cutter type event. They take a brief history, they give you a couple exercises, they give you sheets of paper, and they say go home and do this stuff. And you may or may not respond. Well, I was in such dire straits that I wanted to find the best individual possible to get me back on my feet. My girlfriend explained my situation to Dr. Nielsen, and she gives me a call and says, well, look, Dr. Nielsen, I explained to you what was going on with your back, and Dr. Nielsen said he'd be more than happy to talk to you and give you an evaluation, a free evaluation. Well, I like the word free. And I said, I have absolutely nothing to lose. So I scheduled an appointment with Derek, Dr. Nielsen, and I came up, met with him. For the first probably 5 minutes, I explained to him what the situation was. In the interim, before I left the spine clinic, I said, I really want an MRI to find out what's really going on here, so we can have a very specific treatment directed at the cause of the problem. They took the MRI, and the finding was I had a bulging disc at the L4 and L5, which was putting significant pressure on the nerves in my spinal column, causing all these symptoms to occur. Well, I explained this to Dr. Nielsen, and I said, well, what is your approach? He says, my approach is this: not to treat the symptoms, but to treat the source of the pain. By that, we will completely, or to our greatest expectations, reduce and eliminate the pain and prevent reoccurrence. Well, I bought into that wholeheartedly. And while he's talking, the other thing, and he explained this in a very simplistic way that even I could understand what his approach was. And he asked me to get up on his table after a few minutes of dialogue, and he started to manipulate certain parts of my body, which I felt somewhat relief. The other thing, too, is that his approach was basically, again, let's identify the source, let's prescribe the appropriate therapy or exercises needed to alleviate the problem, and then move forward. Well, after 60 minutes of manipulation and moving certain body parts around, he gave me basically 3 or 4 different exercises that he wanted me to do at least once or twice a day. The other thing too is that these exercises only involved about 3 minutes per exercise. So we're looking at approximately 9 minutes, 10 minutes of exercise, 9 minutes of my life to dramatically improve the quality of life. Because as I'm driving up to see him, I said, "Dear Lord, I can't live like this," because my life was confined to an easy chair or bed for the most part, because I could hardly walk. The pain was too intense. So we went up. I scheduled 8 sessions with Dr. Nielsen, and I said, "Look, I want to know what the prognosis is, because in 6 weeks I'm going hunting out in Wyoming, and I plan to go skiing in Canada in another 12 weeks. He said, "I'll have you up and mobile, and you'll be able to basically re-engage yourself and perform and reassume your normal lifestyle." I said, "Okay." And I truly appreciated the integrity of this individual, because he's very honest, no great expectations, no exaggerations. He said, "This is what we mapped out the course of therapy. This is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to get you there. But the onus is on me, because you have to perform these exercises routinely in order to alleviate and correct what is going on with your spine and the bulging disc." So I would say after 3 to 4 weeks, I started to feel pretty good. I was walking much better. I was far more mobile. I had fairly good flexibility in my back. On week 6, I was almost pain-free. I was able to play golf with no problems afterwards. But once again, I did these exercises religiously. And as we progressed through the different sessions, the different therapeutic sessions, he added on a few more exercises, which further relieved a lot of the pain and helped correct the situation in my spinal column. It's been, 5-6 months now since since I hurt my back, and I can honestly say I've been skiing, hunting, playing golf with no residual side effects. I feel almost 99.9% better than when this episode first occurred. And as I said, I'm able to resume all the activities which I love to do. So I believe wholeheartedly in Dr. Nielsen's approach to the resolution, not the treatment, but the resolution of the pain, so one can resume their normal life and the quality of life that they had before the incident occurred.